This is the fourth event in the series on managing your Dynamics future. I'm Jason Gumpert, and joining us today we have Sue Gamache, Randy DeMars, and Chris Cogneta from Tribridge. As we get started, I just want to add that we welcome your questions and comments throughout the presentation. We recommend using the Q&A block that you'll see on the right side of the screen, and our presenters will answer as many questions as they have time for at the end of the presentation. So, without further delay, please allow me to welcome today's first speaker, Sue Gamache.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you everyone for attending today. Today's presentation, we're going to talk about the models of support plans available on the market, do some comparison between the Microsoft support plans and the plans you may have available through your partner, and then determine the support plan that's the best fit for your organization. We're also going to talk about best practices for ongoing communication and support planning, and when and how to plan for an upgrade. And then, last but not least, questions that you can take back to your partner. So we hope that you find this information valuable, and again, we are available to answer any questions at the end of the presentation. Tribridge, so the folks that are presenting today, we all are employees of Tribridge. Tribridge is a technology services firm specializing in business applications and cloud solutions. We were proud to be presented with the Worldwide Partner Network Dynamics Partner of the Year and the ISV Partner of the Year this year. And as you can see, we have received some other top accolades as well. And we service over 3,500 Microsoft customers. So to get right into the topic today, we wanted to talk to you about what's available from Microsoft for support. Microsoft, for their Dynamics line, offers business-ready licensing. And the Business-Ready Enhancement Plan, or what they call BREP, is a plan that does allow you to maximize your solution with your Dynamics application. By participating in the Business Ready Enhancement Plan, you have the availability to receive future upgrades. You are able to download updates and tax updates, changes for the W-2s with your year-end payroll tax updates. It also protects your system list price because it is something that you can budget for. Microsoft also ensures a life cycle policy with BREP. So if you have a product and you are current in your Business Ready Enhancement Plan, you can be assured that you'll have support available for that product. Now they extend that to up to 10 years and beyond. You'll increase your employee productivity because you'll have access to their customer source site. Customer source does allow you round-the-port support, online training, and some other community-based services that we'll talk about in a moment. One of the most important features of customer source is the knowledge base. As a consumer and a user of the Dynamics applications, you'll want access to the 24/7 portal that allows you to log in and get answers to your everyday questions. It also helps you be proactive and prevent issues from happening in advance. So you'll know in advance when there are service packs available, when new features are available in the new versions. So logging into customer source and staying current on your product is important. You'll find a multitude of information in there that is highly valuable to your organization. You'll also have access to the unlimited online training that's available through what they call e-learning. And there's currently 1,200 interactive e-learning courses available on Customer Source. There's certification opportunities as well for your users. So for your users that frequently use the application in different areas, they can test their skill by becoming certified in the application. And last but not least, what I like to call the best feature of Customer Source, and by staying current on your BREP, your Microsoft support, is you'll have access to the Microsoft Dynamics community, what I call free support. It is a portal or a forum where you can online exchange ideas and ask questions from your peers. So if you have a question about year-end closing or the way somebody else uses their application in a certain area, you can post it out to your peers, and you will see a response, typically within a business day. Now, those forums are also moderated by Microsoft MVPs, like Tribridge's own Chris Cogneta, who's on the call today, and then Microsoft's own support staff. So not only will you receive feedback from your peers, you're going to receive feedback and help through the MVPs and Microsoft support. The next level of support available from Microsoft is what they call Business Ready Advantage Plan, or BRAP. The Business Ready Advantage Plan has the same benefits as what we called BRAP, meaning you would be current with maintenance, access to customer source, and online training in the knowledge base. Plus, you'll receive 6 support incidences from Microsoft. So you'll have those available to you as you have a need for service from Microsoft. And again, whether it's in the Dynamics application or a problem with your SQL Server, you'll be able to contact Microsoft, open a case, and you would just draw against your prepaid incidents. The other benefit there is there's a 3-hour response time commitment, which is a great value. And the next level of support available from Microsoft is their Business Ready Advantage Plan Plus, or what they call BRAP Plus. Now, BRAP has the same benefits as BRAP, or BRAP, considering that they have the same, except that you receive unlimited Microsoft support incidences on this plan. They also give you 24/7 SEVE support. Now, SEVE support, consider that when your system is down and you need help on a weekend. Having the Business Ready Advantage Plan Plus in place with Microsoft, that was a mouthful, you'll have that available to your organization so that you can get the support you need. So when we look at these support offerings from Microsoft, one of the things you can be assured is that the pricing is protected. So it's based on the number of users, and it's calculated by the number of modules you use, and they have set fees for those. So for BREP, it's 16% of your system list price. So if you add users, remove users, you can feel confident that you're going to be able to budget for those costs and be current in your support with Microsoft. For BRAP, or Business Ready Advantage Plan, you're talking 18% of your system list price, and at the BRAP Plus level at 25%. So we're going to go to our first poll question, and Jason will be posting that for us. So the first poll.
That should now be visible.
Great. So what type of support do you use for Dynamics today? And we'll give you 30 seconds. And just a few more seconds. We're going to close that poll.
Yeah, 5-second warning here. We have a couple people still finishing up.
Okay.
All right, we'll close it now. Looks like it might take another 15 seconds for the responses to become visible. But I can tell you that, just looking at the preliminary results, it looks like about 23% say internal support. 42% are selecting Microsoft and partner support. Let me make those results visible here. So yeah, the biggest vote seems to be for Microsoft plus partner support plan, with internal support and customer source in second place at 23%.
All right. If we move
Were you
forward,
able to see that, Sue?
Yes, I can see that here.
Okay. I'll close that out now.
Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about support offerings from your partner. So certainly going to your partner for support, they're the people who implemented your system, who are most familiar with your business, and can provide the highest level of service. Not that Microsoft can't, but you've got that relationship with your partner that's so critical. What you may find as a support offering from your partner, first off, prepaid incidences. Pay in advance for a block of hours, have a wide scope of services, maybe at a discounted rate because you'll buy it in a volume, and a flexibility to use it for small projects and small consulting work. And last but not least, a service level response. If you're prepaying in advance, you would expect a faster response from your partner. Next up would be unlimited incidences. So limited to break-fix support for your Dynamics application, a fixed fee for an annual agreement, and then a fast response. So, you know, I will prepay at a fixed fee and I expect to have a call back within an hour. And last but not least, pay as you go, or what we all call time and materials support, allowing you flexibility to pay per incident and be invoiced for services. Let's say you don't have a great need for support and you're not sure what your support needs may be over the next 12 months. You may choose to just go on a time and materials basis with your partner for support. So how is your support fee determined? We talked before about the different offerings from Microsoft with their BREP, BRAP, and BRAP Plus. So the Microsoft Business Ready Enhancement Plan, as I mentioned, is priced at 16% of your Microsoft system list price, which is calculated loosely by the number of users that you have purchased licenses for, and the particular modules that are purchased by your company. And your partner can help you with those calculations and show you the breakdown. If you move up to that BRAP, so the Business Ready Advantage Plan, it's priced at 18% of your system list price. And last but not least, their premier level of service there with their unlimited incidences is the Business Ready Advantage Plan Plus, priced at 25% of your system list price. So you'll be able to determine the best fit for your company by looking at the different options available. Now, why should you stay current on enhancement? What is the value to you? Well, we talked about the different features that are available to your company from the different plans, and they increase with the different level of service you select. So obviously, you need to examine your risk and determine where your company falls in a need for service and support. And remember that by staying current on the Business Ready Enhancement Plan, at least, it gives you access to that 24/7 support portal known as Customer Source, which most of our customers find a huge benefit to their organization, not to mention the software for future upgrades. Now, what happens if you let your support plan lapse? And a lot of people aren't aware that it is very costly to your company. So not only do you have to become current, pay your current Business Ready Enhancement Plan pricing, there is a 3% fee on top of that, and then you have to pay for a future year. So you really will have to pay for 2 years plus the 3%, what I call penalty. So there's a huge value in staying current, at least on your Business Ready Enhancement Plan, that first one that we talked about at the 16% level. So what are some best practices as you try to determine which support plan your company needs? Well, review your support plan annually with your partner and have a point person that you trust to give you advice on the appropriate support plan for your company. Really look at the next 12 to 18 months and examine what your business needs are. Will your business be changing? Will you be hiring additional staff? And will you be upgrading and changing modules? Really do a good business analysis to determine what your need is. And I always mention as a best practice to stay current on enhancement. How to choose the plan. And this is something you will work with your partner to determine. So how complex is your implementation? Do you have a lot of modules? And are you using a lot of ISV products? ISVs is a lingo, a term that we use in the industry for vendor products. So if you're using GP, it might be McCorma or Binary Stream. If you're in SL, it might be MaxQ or one of the other products. So those ISVs are an important part of your solution, and you need to know how complex your implementation is. How stable is your current environment? Are you having problems? And then how tenured or trained are the people that use your system? Do you have new people coming in that will need training? And again, what are your plans in the near future? Will you be upgrading or expanding? You'll want to review the types of support available from Microsoft and your partner with your partner. Really put a best fit together for your organization. Make sure you understand the skill set of the support team that you select, the service level agreement that's available, and the hours of service. It's very critical for your business. If you're in a 24/7 organization, you'll want to make sure that you can get service during those hours. And if that's not critical, that the people who will be supporting your system have the highest level of skill available. So have those tough conversations and make a good business decision to choose your best plan. When you go to your partner, you want to ask, which plan did your company choose? You know now what some of those benefits are, and I certainly can provide that information to you following this call if you'd like. Do you have support available from your partner? And if so, what's the experience level of the support staff? Are they dedicated to responding to your support requests, or is it a side job, meaning they pick up support requests in the evenings or between projects? And do they offer a service level agreement, meaning how fast are they going to call you back? Is it going to be today or sometime in the next week because you're waiting for somebody to be available from a project? And then last but not least, is the support team U.S.-based? If your business is U.S.-based with U.S. business hours, it's very critical that your support is U.S.-based as well. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tribridge's customer care model. Tribridge's customer care is proud of their customer service. They exceeded 95% customer service for the year and 100% customer satisfaction for the month of November. We have a dedicated U.S.-based ERP and CRM consulting staff in customer care. Their average tenure is 15 years experience with the Dynamics solutions, and we serve over 2,000 of Tribridge's Dynamics customers within customer care. We're available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There's various ways to reach us, including a national toll-free line that rings live on our support consultants' desks. And we do have a formal escalation process into our delivery team. So if for some reason we're not able to resolve the issue for our client as they call in, it'll be escalated into our delivery team through a dedicated process. We also have the cloud solution available as a service, which is a private single-tenant cloud. It is implemented with Microsoft and/or the enterprise applications. Consulting, support, and upgrade can be rolled into the same cloud fee, and we have a 99.99% uptime guarantee. We also include 24/7 support. So at this point, I'm going to hand off to our next presenter, which is Chris Cogneta. I mentioned him a moment ago. He is one of the Microsoft MVPs, and Chris is a practice manager here at Tribridge. So Chris, handing it off to you.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry I have a little cold, so you might hear a little groggle in my voice, so I apologize ahead of time. My name is Chris Cogneta. I'm the practice manager for the client field operations team. We're focused on CRM upgrades, installs, support throughout the organization. So all the information that Sue shared with you, most of the CRM stuff will come through my team. That said, we're going to talk about some upgrade best practices. Sue, do you have the ability to switch this over, or Jason? There we go. Okay, so So when you're planning your CRM upgrade, there's some important things that you want to take a look at that will impact you as you're trying to size and set a time frame. For those of you who are on CRM Online is being upgraded currently to 2013. That current update is scheduled to be completed by 2/14/2014. So you have a lot of people who are in the midst of these upgrades and under a lot of pressure to get things done. So this checklist can help you determine the components that you have and do you need to look at them as far as impacting you in your scripts. I'll go through them. So your upgrade path, more for an on-prem customer, what version of CRM did you start with? Typically, customers are still on CRM 3, CRM 4. Those customers are going to have more impact when going forward to a CRM 2013 implementation. Anything written in the CRM 4 or previous time frame will no longer be supported in CRM 2013. It's important to note that Microsoft has provided backwards compatibility through each version. So when you went from CRM 3 to CRM 4, it was supported, and from 4 to 2011, that was supported, but the 3 code would no longer work. It's the same model here, not really new news, just we have some customers that are running into this. So be aware of your development needs and the version of that software. Sometimes even if you can upgrade to the next version, you need to be aware of that your code is one version behind so it doesn't catch you every time. A thorough review of your infrastructure, your current user base, and your sizes. Looking at your license counts, looking at your server quality. Is it an opportunity for me to upgrade? Can I move over to a new version of the OS so that in a future release I can stay current? Some customers are still on 2003, 2008 servers. It's a great opportunity to look at Windows 2012 server and SQL 2012 server. As a matter of fact, I just saw the SQL 2014 stuff coming out shortly. So again, some things to consider so that you can jump ahead of that curve. Again, reviewing the user access, how they talk to your system, the web client, the Outlook versions, mobile, Office, whether or not you need an IFD deployment, which is going to be a unique factor in CRM 2013 with the introduction of the mobility pieces from Microsoft. That is truly pushing partners and customers moving towards an IFD deployment so that you can have those great looking mobile client apps for your iPad and Windows 8 devices and soon Android. Review of JScript for security, subgrids, and web service calls. These are some components that are built into your platform. Some of it, depending on which platform you have, was native. Others, it was done. So things that were done in CRM 4, I'll give you an example, would be field level security. That was native in 2011. So if you're coming from 4 to 2013, that's an opportunity to remove that script and upgrade that script to use the new 2013 functionality. So when you're looking at your upgrade, you also want to look at what can I get rid of that's no longer out of the box, and that will make your upgrade smoother for the future. CRM 2013 also provides a new feature called the business process flow and also the business process rules. Those rules will allow you to replace some of the inherited JScript code with a business type language, which will be fully supported for future upgrades. So another way to reduce your JavaScript and where you're moving forward. The review of your SDK and plugins, again, more with your customizations and what you built in the SDK timeframe. If you're more than one version behind your current release, you're going to have to upgrade those code. And ensure that you have that code is another scenario. A lot of customers have worked with partners over the years, moved to other partners, and no longer have that code. So you know that, and we just want to make sure that you're aware that when you do move on or you don't have a customer, we need to get the code. Integrations, third-party ISVs, as Sue mentioned, like 3C60, ExpertLogix, ADX Portal, as well as your data integrations with Scribe, SSIS, and data management. All of those items will need to be looked at during the upgrade to ensure which versions you have and which versions you need. You can get with your partner, or you can look directly on these partner websites for information. Reviewing the data for decision is another scenario. How many are dealing with data issues or data issues in your current platform that you'd like to clean up? There's no better time to do that during an upgrade. Whether it's a reload, whether it's using a tool like Trillium's data cleanup tools, those tools will allow us to help clean the data so that your user experience is greatly enhanced. So Dynamics infrastructure requirements, again, we spoke a little bit about customers on 2003. It's a great opportunity to upgrade to 2008 and 2012. there's some unexpected hardware costs as well. So you're jumping the bit from 32-bit to 64-bit in an architecture perspective. A lot of customers are taking the opportunity to go virtual. Virtualization's been around for quite a long time. Many of the cloud deployments that you see, including Microsoft CRM Online, is all cloud-based with virtual machines. Virtual machines give you the ability to split up many different environments, fast deployment, so you don't have to worry about multiple machines in rack space, and the ability to roll back in case you have errors while you're doing an upgrade. So you can actually go through the steps, and if you get to a point, you could snapshot that step, take the risky move. If it doesn't work, you can actually roll back and not lose any time besides the roll-up. So that's definitely a way for us to move forward. And again, insisting on a proper test environment. You don't want to go deploy these upgrades on your production server just assuming they're going to work out of the box. You need to test that in a test environment, and a virtual machine is a great way to do that. If you're online, you can also get a new online. For 2013, Microsoft is actually going to provide one free instance of CRM non-production that will come with your license subscription. So you can't use it to get to 2013, but in the future, you will have that dev environment that will come for all your users. So every user that you pay for will have access to that environment as well. Some installation tips that we commonly see that you might not be aware of is don't install CRM with your user ID. Create a user account, use service accounts. You want to ensure that if someone leaves your organization, your system's not going to be turned off as soon as they leave. We've seen this a few times, and something that while you're upgrading, it's a perfect example to go in and fix that issue. Again, the CRM admin is a local administrator on the boxes, and using the service accounts should be the way to do the install. Network service is not the way to go. It gives you some security issues as far as allowing access to the database. You'll be prompted all kinds of warnings about doing it. If you don't know about service accounts, you can definitely look at the implementation guide. It'll talk about it, or get with your IT group to help you there. Test also to the SQL reporting services from a browser. So after you install your SQL server and you have reporting services set up, try to run reporting services first. Most of the time, reporting service is not configured and is a common error when installing CRM. So that could actually put you some time behind as you have to go figure that out, what's happening, why is it not communicating, and also leaving the firewall up between the two, or not putting the firewall exception to allow the CRM server to talk to the SQL server. And last but not least, another tip is to install CRM on a port versus installing CRM the default website. A lot of customers would like to install IFD in the future, and IFD has a requirement to be the primary website on the system. So by choosing a port, you will not be the primary website, and that will give you that opportunity. So again, ensuring your upgrade is successful by making sure your infrastructure is updated and maintained is another process along. If you've been holding your environment for a while and just saying, hey, it's great, we haven't done any updates in a while, those items are going to catch up with you, and they usually catch up right about the upgrade time. For CRM 4, you should be up on roll-up 20. For CRM 2011, you should be at least on roll-up 6 or roll-up 14 to move to CRM 2013. Anywhere in between will not work, so you have to be either on 6, which is the default roll-up for 2011, or the latest roll-up, which is 14 and above. Those are required to move to 2013. If not, you will have an error, and you will not be able to get past that. Another common cleanup problem is the async operation space. This is the table that stores all the activities and workflows that you have in the system, and as they're closed out or processed, they leave a log. Typically, you should set up a maintenance job that will take care of that file by following that KB article that will show you how to remove from that table. If you start the upgrade and you leave that table full, what will happen is your upgrade will run for many hours, and it could be 20+ hours as it's trying to go through all those items when it doesn't have to. Most of the time, they will also fail due to timeouts and connectivity. So that's something you want to make sure that's clean. If you're not upgrading today, it's still something you want to make sure you keep clean. 2011, there's a new feature that will allow you on the workflows to actually click under the General Administration tab there, and you can actually choose not to log the workflow, and that will also help keep this table clean. SQL maintenance is CRM is no different than any other application that's out there as far as its footprint, and you need to make sure that you have SQL ongoing maintenance. So if you don't have a SQL DBA or you haven't done any maintenance on the system, you definitely want to look at that fragmentation, you want to look at the log files, and you want to ensure that that's all done before you start your upgrade, because again, those will cause upgrade issues the night of go live. And then the final one is the Microsoft OS updates, and ensuring that your machines and your systems are up to date. And that's just in best practice as far as what do you have deployed on your machines? Do you have the latest Office packs, the latest OS packs? A lot of issues that are found are related to not having those OS components, specifically around Office and Windows, IE patches, things like that. Having those in place before you start, and again, testing in a test environment on machines so that you know the outcome is really where you want to be. And again, this is just a copy of the async operation script, so you guys can see a look at it. And the failure not to run that script is going to clean. The one thing I wanted to point out here is to note there's 3 indexes that it would like to create. It's in the middle of the KB article. A lot of people just run the first query and don't read the full KB. In the middle of the query, there's 3 indexes that actually speed up the job. So you want to make sure you create those 3 indexes first, as shown in this diagram, and then run the cleanup. So again, the keys to successful upgrade, not only your CRM 4, but CRM 2011 system, is ensuring that your system maintenance tasks are handled. You have your planning and your backups all set up, as well as an understanding of your current system, design, development, architecture documents, ensuring that information's there, and then using the setup log files to ensure that you are resolving the errors as you're moving forward, or work with your partner to do that. Again, I highly encourage you guys to move over to the VM technologies if you're not there. It's a great way to be today, and definitely the future. So I believe that's it, and I'm going to hand this over to my partner in crime, Randy DeMars from our ERP GP team. Randy?
Thanks again for your time. My name is Randy DeMars, and I am a practice manager in our Dynamics ERP practice, specifically around the GP product. A lot of my comments at a high level will be directly related to any ERP package, but the specifics may change. So, but the concerns and checklists are similar. So I'm going to step through these 4 items here. I've got an upgrade checklist, a little bit similar to what Chris just went through, some infrastructure requirements, some items that are no longer supported in the newest release of GP, and some web client items that aren't supported, and talk a little bit about that. So from an upgrade checklist perspective, there's some key items here that you want to consider. With the GP product and any product, you may have several versions that you're upgrading from. You know, timing is one consideration of whether or not you should upgrade. Feature set of the new release is also something else, and then technology may be something else that you would consider around that. So that can involve, you know, some people upgrade every version, some people upgrade every 2, some people skip 5 or 6, depending upon various things that are going on with their business. So determining what version you're on, what you're coming from and going to is important, because it could require a single hop from one product to the next, or it could require multiple hops, i.e. multiple installations of different versions of SQL Server and the application, upgrading one at a time or a couple of versions at a time. So that can play into your planning and your cost as well. Another thing to consider that's new, at least in the GP practice, is you want to make sure you understand what's in the latest service pack of that release. If you're coming up service packs, the strategy in the GP product just recently with the release of Service Pack 2, they've started to include quite a number of new features instead of just doing break fix. So those of you that are in the GP, using the GP product, that's something you want to pay very close attention to going forward. It may change your upgrade strategy when looking at your upgrade path and strategy options. There may be service pack releases that contain functionality versus major releases. Some new ones there. There's some new document attachment features. The Smart List Designer is a version of the Smart List Builder that Microsoft is OEMing into the product now in GP and those types of things. Second item, reviewing your infrastructure, current users, database sizes. Again, common to CRM, as Chris talked about that a little bit. A couple things here. You want to document your database names and sizes. Some folks have one database, some folks have 20 or 100. Depending upon the size and the number of those databases, that can also drive timing and cost considerations. Excuse me. And you want to make sure that you understand and plan for that, because it can affect not only the effort around performing the upgrade, but the effort around the user testing that you need to perform on the customer side to make sure that everything works properly. Another key component will be looking at your third-party products, your ISVs, which Sue had mentioned and kind of defined, those third-party add-ons that provide specific functionality that's not natively in the ERP product. It's critical at upgrade to make sure that those ISV partners have current compatibility with the latest release. Typically, that's a major release, although at the service pack level, we need to pay attention to that as well and make sure that we start the upgrade once those all are compatible. They have agreements with Microsoft to keep that compatibility in line in a certain time frame. Some are out of the gate faster than others, so you want to make sure you consider that, because often those are critical to your business, and they won't upgrade if they're not compatible. Customizations. As Chris mentioned, I can't emphasize how important it is with your partner as you go through making customizations, having them make customizations for you, whether it's adding code to a window, creating a new form, using SQL views and stored procedures to document that code, get a copy of that code, and document anything else that's going on around the processes that those customizations are used for. It becomes a very expensive endeavor to have to re-engineer and redo those if you decided at some point to leave your partner and have someone else assist you with them. That's something that a lot of people aren't proactive enough on when they're having that work done. So make sure you get a copy of that stuff. Custom reports. Custom reports do upgrade typically, and one thing that we like to make sure people understand, because some don't, is looking at reviewing your local versus shared strategy on your report dictionaries, i.e., is that on a shared server where everybody's going to the same server and those customizations are managed, so workstation number 1 and workstation number 20 are running the same version of that report, versus someone making a modification, storing it off locally, and then someone else wondering why they can't see that local report. So we want to understand what your strategy is, review that with you, and then upgrade those reports as needed. User access. Chris talked a little bit about this as well. It's important to understand what your options are. You know, internally and externally, you could deploy a fat or a thin client, a standard fat client, thin client via Citrix or terminal server, or if you're hosted in a cloud environment, you could be accessing via a published application, or you could be accessing GP or another ERP product via web client. So those are important considerations. Those of you who are on GP and aren't familiar with 2013 yet, there is a web client option, and there are some different server and what I'll call server stack requirements technology-wise that are required for that deployment too. So you want to make sure that you raise that and review that with your partner on what your user access needs are now and what you would like to see what those options are in the future. Integrations, review integrations, Smart Connect Integration Manager, common tools that are used. Scribe is another one to integrate to custom applications for billing. A lot of people have specialized billing needs, or it really could be anything. It's really important to treat these as customizations and make sure that when those happen that you're getting proper documentation, or you're documenting those properly internally. So when someone needs to assist you, such as an upgrade or any other time, that you have those as well. So as part of the upgrade, we want to document the Smart Connect maps and any integrations that you have. And regarding the integrations and the customizations, that's something that you want to make sure you plan adequate, maybe even over-plan adequate time for user acceptance testing to test your mission-critical business processes around those. A little bit on infrastructure requirements. You know, Microsoft does a fantastic job of providing minimum requirements and documentation around that, and those are typically available via your partner or via customer source. or an equivalent. And I'm not going to go into the details here of all these versions. This is going to be recorded and be available, as well as these documents are available, as I said, again, through your partner or on customer source. But it's important to know that a few things that have changed lately, I think Chris mentioned this as well, leveraging 64-bit architecture, the new server operating systems and the new client workstation operating systems all have 64-bit architecture now, and the performance around that, especially if you're upgrading, people will often be required to upgrade the operating system on their workstations, and often buy new servers to deploy or spin up a virtual. The 64-bit architecture, we're seeing great performance increases, as well as administrative management type functionality that's built into SQL Server 2012. So make sure you consider that, and then consider any related hardware costs related to going to that. And that, I'm going to jump ahead to the last bullet. I'm sorry, the third bullet, and pull in. It's a great opportunity to consider whether it makes sense for you to go virtual or seek out a cloud opportunity. We've got a ton of customers moving into cloud environments, ours and others, and the balance of buying new hardware versus someone else providing that to you as a service is something you definitely want to consider and balance, and we're happy to go through ROI calculations on that with any of our customers who would like to look into that. On the client side, for GP 2013, Windows 8 and Windows 7 are supported. No more XP or any other legacy operating systems on the client side. And it's important also to understand what your ERP and Outlook Office type functionality is. There's a lot of integrated functionality there, something as simple as emailing documents, those types of things. You can really leverage Office type functionality straight from your ERP product. And again, as Chris mentioned, and I can't underemphasize this as well, require yourself and your partner to spin up a test environment for any upgrade that you're going to do with an ERP or a CRM product. It substantially mitigates your risk. It allows you to isolate production. It allows you to perform proper user acceptance testing all of your integrations, all of your customizations, and then it also gives you a measurement opportunity to know if you're in the situation where you have multiple databases or large databases or multiple large databases, and being able to basically run a clock on that process and understand how long it takes in your environment and hardware, so you can plan your live upgrade and know what type of window you're going to have, and allowing you to plan for any outage time. A couple more slides here on this first one is what's no longer supported in GP 2013. This is typical kind of Microsoft product lifecycle and product retirement stuff, XP, Server 2003. Some folks are still on Server 2003, so again, that's a good opportunity to migrate to 64-bit architecture and then look at some potential cloud options if you don't want to invest in new hardware. Next one I have are some items related to the web client. This is really important because it's new and a lot of folks aren't familiar with the web client. And one way to look at this as a good rule of thumb, if an executable is required to launch outside of GP, the rule of thumb is that's not supported within the web client. So if you're in a cloud environment or you're internally pushing out the web client, someone needs to use something such as integration manager. It's very common. They would have to launch that outside of the web client. So a handful of folks would have the FAT and thin client working, and if you were in a cloud environment, you would access those via published application or something. You could access everything outside of Integration Manager via the web client. We're in, oh goodness, I can't recall, the third or fourth release of that, and the way Microsoft has been releasing the web client is based upon functionality by modules, financials, distribution, manufacturing, so on and so forth. So you'll see at the bottom of the list here a couple items, bill of materials in one, grant management. That type of functionality will be rolled out over the next many months. So if it's not there yet, it's probably coming from a module perspective. Some of these other things, the modifier VBA, things that have to launch outside of native GP are a little more challenging, and that's a little more on a long-term horizon of rolling those into the web client. But understanding that is very important, so you understand what's in your environment, and you're not disappointed that you're not able to access that via a web browser. A couple questions here that are really important. The game changed a little bit with going to 2013 and GP. I'm not exactly sure on the other ERP products, but you know, it's important to know what the experience level of your partner is on technical tasks. You know, how many upgrades have you performed to the latest major version? What's your familiarity? I think this year we've done about 75 so far, so we're a larger practice and we do quite a few. Another question is, do you have a dedicated upgrade practice? Do you have folks that's what they do 5 days, 6 days a week, developing that expertise and that knowledge to leverage for you, the customer, to make sure that everything goes appropriately, smoothly, and that they've seen challenges and issues before and they know how to resolve them. That's very important. And quite frankly, it's important just from the ERP perspective. At Tribridge, we have dedicated practice areas for all our ERP products. As Sue had mentioned, we have a practice area for customer care, and all those folks within the customer care practice area are dedicated by ERP or CRM product as well. That is all I have. Thank you very much, and I'll hand it back to either Jason or Sue. Actually, I think we're going to do a poll question. I'm sorry. We're going to do our last poll question, and Jason will put that up. Thanks.
Okay, so before we go into Q&A here, we do have one last poll question. And we will take about 30 seconds to gather some information there. After you've done that, I do just want to remind you, you can use the Q&A block just near that poll to ask your questions. All right, so it looks like we're going to close that out here. And let's view those results. So in terms of, are you planning an upgrade in the next 12 months? We have 26% saying yes, 31% saying no, and 3% evaluating. The others are perhaps undecided or not sharing their plans right now. So one question that's come in from several people is access to this information after the event. We are recording the event today. We'll make that video available to you as soon as it's posted, and we'll send an alert on that. We'll also, I think you can also email Sue here if you have questions about access to the slides as well.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Sue, I did have one question. You know, the different options for support, there are a lot of considerations to take in there. Can you? It seems like it's something that's going to be different for every customer. What are some of the things you've seen customers perhaps struggle with or try to work on to come up with what they feel is the right decision for them? Are there any particular issues you might identify?
That's a great question. And typically when they ask that question, we work with them for them to select the plan that works best for their business. So we do not recommend one over the other. We sit with the customer, we examine their business, we look at their risk. You know, what do they have for staff? How trained are their IT staff on their ERP solution or their CRM solution? And what are their plans to grow in the next year or 18 months? And you help them make that decision. We don't make it for them. So as we listen and we examine their business risk, we may make a recommendation. And typically the first thing we recommend is, number one, at least stay current on BREP, so that business ready enhancement plan. You definitely want to stay current. There's a lot of reasons behind that, including all of the support you get from Microsoft. Not from Microsoft support exactly, but access to future upgrade software, access to your tax updates, and the service packs. What if a bug comes out in your current version that impacts your productivity? you want to stay current to have those features available. And then last but not least, the training, the knowledge base, and all of the other features of Customer Source. So we will examine their risk with them, help them make that decision, but again, the base decision is to stay current on BREP.
All right, we have a question here. What about new feature training for users?
Great question again. So new feature training, if you think about it, with BREP, you get access to e-learning. And currently, Microsoft has 1,200 courses out there. So you want to take a look there first, see if that feature is available as a recorded session, or if there's any training material available. And if not, you'd want to reach out to your partner. So your partner certainly can provide, based on your business model, you know, how that solution or new feature will fit with your business. They can answer those types of questions.
And from the application side on the ERP and CRM, when we assist customers with upgrades, we include and budget for what's new training. And so from the new training perspective around upgrades in particular, we do include that, and it's all tailored to the customer, the modules they have in use at the time of upgrade, and we focus in on that. And anything outside of that we can plan for as well, but we certainly include that. And depending upon how many versions you're coming from would determine the level of effort and commitment around that.
Hey, Randy, Heather's on the line, would like to know if you know about, for GP 2010, is there any place to go and get automatic notifications? I know for CRM, you can go out to their team blog and you can set up the RSS feed, so as they post those updates, you guys can see them. That's one way to surely get on the list. Anything for GP?
Absolutely, yeah. There are tons of blogs in the Microsoft Dynamics community. If you just search, if you just go to Google or whatever your browser, your search engine of choice is, absolutely, same type functionality. There's more information out there than one person can consume. It's really a great situation.
All right, why don't we make a last call for questions here, and if not, if we don't have any more, maybe we can start wrapping up. So, and something else always comes in as we start this, but Sue, Randy, and Chris, thanks so much for your time today. Great material. Yep, and thanks to everyone on the line for joining. We hope you found it worthwhile. We have been recording the session. We'll make it available to you very soon. Thanks again for attending, and have a great day.